Ahead of a no-confidence vote, French Prime Minister Michel Barnier says his government may yet survive.
Police raided properties linked to former European Commissioner for Justice Didier Reynders, suspected of money laundering. Opposition parties in South Korea submitted a motion on Wednesday to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol.
As NATO foreign ministers met in Brussels, Secretary-General Mark Rutte warned of Russian support for North Korean nuclear programs. France's Prime Minister Michel Barnier said it is possible his government may survive a looming no-confidence vote. He said it depends on the country's MPs, who he said had a responsibility to the French people during what he described as a serious period in the country's history.
Je pense que c'est possible qu'il y ait ce réflexe de responsabilité où, au-delà des différences politiques, des divergences, des contradictions normales dans une démocratie, on se dise qu'il y a un intérêt supérieur. Moi, je pense que l'intérêt supérieur du pays, le bien commun, l'intérêt national, ça veut dire quelque chose.
Barnier faces the no-confidence vote after pushing through a controversial social budget bill. Opposition leaders say adjustments to the bill don't delay their concerns and pushed for a no-confidence vote. To bring down the government, 288 MPs need to vote in agreement. This is possible if both the left and right wing of the National Assembly unite in a majority vote. French President Emmanuel Macron reportedly brushed aside the possibility of Barnier's resignation, describing calls for him to do so as a political fiction.
The European Union has its eyes on the French National Assembly. Prime Minister Michel Barnier's coalition government is likely to be in its final hours, and the issue is the budget. Barnier is proposing a major effort to reduce the public deficit, estimated at 6.1% this year, down to 5% by 2025.
Si on veut parler en fait de crise budgétaire, la France n'est pas dans une situation de véritable crise budgétaire sur le plan de la soutenabilité de la dette. Le risque qu'on a simplement, c'est plutôt si la crise politique se prolonge pendant plusieurs années, on n'arrive pas du tout en fait de rectifier en fait une trajectoire budgétaire qui, je pense que sur le long terme, n'est pas très soutenable. Là, lentement, on va aller dans un territoire où ça pourrait devenir problématique pour la soutenabilité de la dette de la France.
Michel Barnier is under national and European pressure to bring France back into line with the Stability and Growth Pact. He is therefore proposing a 60 billion euro effort comprising 40 billion euro in spending cuts and 20 billion in additional revenue. However, it is not so much the budgetary uncertainties that are worrying the markets, but the political impasse.
Si le gouvernement Barnier tombe, on ne sait pas si M. Macron va maintenir Barnier quelque temps, s'il va mettre un autre Premier ministre, s'il va finir par démissionner, qu'il y a quand même pas mal de monde qui l'appelle à la démission en France en 2025, ça veut dire élection présidentielle, réélection législative, probablement derrière à l'été. Donc en fait, ça veut dire qu'on est parti pour une séquence, on est devant un semestre entier de spéculation politique, de campagne, etc., où la France sera absente du jeu.
This political instability in France will weigh heavily in European debates. The voice of Paris risks being weakened at a time when the Union's new institutional teams want to make rapid progress on the geopolitical, industrial and climate challenges facing the 27 member states.
Belgian police raided properties linked to former European Commissioner for Justice Didier Reynders. With local media reporting, he is suspected of money laundering. For years, Reynders reportedly bought lottery tickets through the Belgian National Lottery, an organisation which he oversaw as minister between 2007 and 2011. It is alleged that he took part in lottery games and deposited the resulting, now laundered profits into his personal accounts. Local media report that the investigation had been ongoing for months, that investigators waited until the end of Reynders' term as European Commissioner on Sunday, which also marked the end of his EU immunity. One of the properties reportedly raided was Reynders' private property, with the former EU Justice Chief questioned by police until Tuesday evening.
The European Commission was unaware of the investigation into the alleged money laundering by former European Commissioner Didier Reynders. The Belgian politician was Commissioner for Justice until last Saturday.
So first of all, did you have any indications that Mr. Reynders was engaging in any malpractice during his mandate?
We do not have any further information about this matter. Of course, if the Belgian authorities were to contact us, we are going to collaborate with them.
Reynders still enjoys a certain immunity linked to his former position. If it were to be withdrawn, the decision would be up to the current College of Commissioners.
So, indeed, members of the College are accorded immunity, but solely, only in the interests of the Union. What does that mean? It means that they benefit from immunity for acts performed by them in their official capacity. So it's a functional immunity.
According to French daily Le Soir and investigative platform Follow the Money, Reynders' homes were searched by police on Tuesday, apparently following suspicions that he may be laundering money through the Belgian National Lottery.
Opposition parties in South Korea submitted a motion on Wednesday to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol after he imposed a martial law. The law was lifted just hours after the president announced it, following mass protests and parliament opposition. Lawmakers that had managed to defy security forces and enter parliament unanimously voted against the law. Impeaching Yoon would require the support of 2/3 of the parliament and the backing of at least 6 constitutional court judges. Voting is set for Friday or Saturday. Calls are also mounting for members of Yoon's cabinet to resign. If Yoon is impeached, he'll be stripped of his constitutional powers until the court can rule on his fate.
Chancellor Olaf Scholz battled questions from German MPs in the Bundestag on Wednesday, ahead of the vote of confidence that the Chancellor has called for December the 16th. Scholz has drawn the line at sending German soldiers into Ukraine after the foreign ministers suggested that peacekeeping troops could be stationed in a demilitarised zone if a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine was agreed. The Chancellor was grilled about the shrinking economy, which has continued to deteriorate over the past 3 years, while Scholz has been in power due to repercussions stemming from COVID and Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which have arguably been outside the government's control. While Scholz said that he would continue to work on policies over the next couple of months ahead of the vote scheduled for February, it's clear that he's already in full election campaign mode. Liv Stroud in Berlin for Euronews.
While Moscow has found a way to produce more drones to attack Ukraine, Kyiv has found a way to ground them or even send them back at Russia or Belarus. During one of the recent attacks, almost half of 110 Shahed drones launched at Ukraine were lost.
Basically, what Ukraine is doing is spoofing, meaning they are feeding in false GPS targets to these Shahed, or in the Russian term Garan 2 drones, to make them veer off course. And so the drones have a system that's supposed to prevent jamming, but what these are doing is kind of sneaking in and not letting the drone know that the coordinates are being changed. It's kind of tricking it into going into the wrong direction.
This can be possible because of the improved electronic warfare interference tactics, he says.
So Ukraine's ex-top general Valery Zaluzhny first publicly mentioned the Pokrova system back in February. So I think the system has probably improved since then. And as you noted, the percentage of these Russian Shahed drones that Ukraine claims to be spoofing has increased over time.
Independent Belarus monitoring group Hayun Project told Euronews that there has been an increase in the number of Russian drones redirected into Belarus airspace every month. They reported that 38 Russian Shahed drones entered Belarus airspace on the night of November 24th and 25th, a record number. Belarus scrambled jets to respond to the airspace violation, suggesting that Minsk was unprepared to receive errant Russian drones and that Russia had not anticipated the impacts of Ukrainian interference or communicated them to Belarus in advance.
NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte said we should not be naive about how Russia may be supporting nuclear programs in North Korea. The alleged Russian support of Pyongyang's nuclear program, as well as the involvement of North Korean troops in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, demands broader collaboration between NATO and countries outside of the alliance.
And there's every reason to make that statement that nuclear technology and missile technology is flowing into North Korea, and therefore is a risk now that North Korea will use it, not only to be a threat to us here, but also to the US mainland and of course to the region, including the Republic of Korea, South Korea and Japan.
Amid fears that Donald Trump might withdraw key US aid to Ukraine when he enters office, Rutte recently met with the US President-elect in Florida. He said that he'd underlined that China, North Korea and Iran were weighing in on Russia's side, putting the United States and the Asia-Pacific region at risk. When asked about Russia's own nuclear threat, Rutte accused the Kremlin of saber-rattling.